Picture this, right? You are standing in the middle of the most magnificent library on Earth.
Oh, like a real architectural marvel.
Exactly. Towering bookshelves stretching up to the ceiling, just completely packed with every single thing humanity has ever figured out. You got your politics section over there, economics, sociology, philosophy.
And probably an entire massive wing dedicated to success literature.
Oh, 100%. The whole how to win at life, how to be a millionaire, how to influence people stuff.
Yeah.
Now, imagine someone walks into this pristine library, looks around at all these accumulated centuries of human thought, and just says, yeah, almost all of this is actually garbage.
Which is a wild thing to say out loud.
It really is.
I mean,
But that is the exact premise we are looking at today. We're exploring this really fascinating, highly opinionated philosophical essay by an author named Shui Feng. It's titled Being a Human, Knowledge. Great. And our mission for this deep dive is to basically decode this text's incredibly unconventional blueprint for how to navigate the trivialities of our daily lives.
right. And ultimately, according to the text, how to sublimate life to a higher heavenly state.
Yeah. But doing that requires, like, a complete teardown of the existing human playbook.
It really does. This source challenges you to completely rethink your relationship with nature, your own destiny, and virtually every societal norm you have ever been taught to respect. I mean, the author is demanding that we find a totally different, uncorrupted reference point for our behavior.
Okay, let's unpack this, because you can't just call all human knowledge garbage without providing some kind of backup plan.
Right, you need an alternative.
Exactly. And the essay does provide one. It calls it the book without words. It's as if human-created knowledge is this buggy, constantly updating app full of misinformation, while nature is the flawless, original operating system we've just forgotten how to read.
I love that analogy. What's fascinating here is how the text defines that book without words. It's the raw, unfiltered observation of reality.
So not books.
Right. No human chatter at all. It argues that true knowledge comes from reading the sky, the earth, animals, plants, insects, even microorganisms. And it also includes observing raw social phenomena like the actual, tangible joys and sorrows of people on the ground.
Instead of just reading, academic theories about them.
Exactly. Because the logic here is that people and the systems that people build will inevitably deceive you. Nature, on the other hand, just completely lacks the capacity for deception.
The text makes a really sharp distinction about why human books are so fundamentally flawed, too. It points out that human knowledge is deeply infected with our own ego, our political agendas, our historical biases.
It's all filtered.
Right. When you read a book on economics or sociology, you aren't really reading facts. You're reading a highly filtered, heavily biased interpretation of reality that was basically designed to serve a specific era or a specific class of people. But there is one massive caveat the text offers. It actually gives a free pass to the STEM fields.
Yeah, that part is really interesting. Mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. The text acknowledges that these specific disciplines actually reveal the unvarnished mysteries of nature.
So they get to stay on the shelf.
They do, because think about it. A mathematical equation doesn't have an ego. It doesn't have a political agenda. It just describes the underlying hardware of the universe. But the humanities, politics, history, philosophy.
The text claims those actively distort reality.
Exactly. It views them as these really short-sighted explanations of temporary eras.
It goes particularly hard on success literature, by the way. I mean, it doesn't just call it useless, it specifically labels it as actively harmful.
Oh, it despises it.
Yeah, and it completely dismisses philosophy as just a mere mental game that scholars play with each other. If physics is the hardware manual for the universe, the text views the humanities as, like, terrible, user-generated fan fiction that we've all somehow agreed to treat as the official manual.
Which is such a brutal takedown. And the author's demand is that we just stop reading the fan fiction. If we want a reliable reference for the actual business of being human, we have to drastically turn down the volume on what society is telling us to want.
And listen to the universe instead.
Right, listen to the foundational laws of existence.
Okay, so if nature is this flawless operating system, we have to figure out how it actually programs us as individuals, right?
That's the logical next step.
And the essay introduces two concepts for navigating this that, at first glance, honestly seem to be in total opposition to each other.
They really do contradict each other on the surface.
Right. On one hand, the text mandates that we embrace fate, and on the other, it demands that we follow your nature. Let's look at the fate aspect first,
Oh.
because the framework presents it in incredibly absolute terms.
It does. The text argues that nature presents this massive, diverse array of forms, and the inherent nature and trajectory of every single life form is locked in from the exact day of its birth.
Like an acorn is programmed to become an oak tree.
Exactly. It literally cannot choose to become a pine tree. For thousands of years, no life form in the natural world has altered its fundamental nature. And the framework's core assertion is that humans, despite our complex thoughts and all our creative abilities, we are fundamentally no different from a tree or an insect in this regard.
Meaning our life's merits, our demerits, our massive fortunes, and our devastating misfortunes, the entire trajectory is completely hardwired from day one.
That is the claim, yeah.
The essay explicitly states that trying to change your destiny is as logically impossible as trying to, retroactively choose who your parents are or what historical era you were born into. It's presented as a biological and cosmic impossibility.
And what's interesting is, rather than viewing this as some nihilistic tragedy, the text frames this absolute predetermination as the ultimate source of peace.
Wow. Rad.
Yeah, accepting your destiny is presented as the only rational choice a person can make. The framework suggests that this acceptance brings contentment, adaptability, happiness, and even spiritual enlightenment.
So fighting it is basically useless.
Worse than useless, fighting your fate hustling to alter a predetermined trajectory only generates anger, resentment, massive setbacks, and ultimately calamity. You are essentially just grinding your gears against the universe.
Wait, that sets a very rigid track. But then the text pivots to the second mandate, follow your nature. And it defines this in a way that aggressively strips away everything we consider normal.
Oh, it completely redefines it.
Yeah, it explicitly says that wanting a luxurious mansion, or desiring a staff of servants, or craving a high-status job is not following your nature. Those desires are just vanity.
Right. The argument is that a desire for a mansion isn't an innate biological drive. It's a synthetic desire programmed into you by that buggy app of human culture. Following your true nature means identifying the impulses that exist underneath all of that cultural conditioning.
And the examples the text gives for what constitutes true nature are wild.
They are definitely out there.
It says that if you feel the urge to sing folk songs in the middle of the street at midnight, you should just do it. Or, if it is a scorching hot summer day and you feel like commuting to work completely naked, you can just do it.
Which is, that's intense.
It's advocating for a radical, almost uncomfortable level of authenticity.
It really is. The text is urging readers to strip away, literally in the case of the naked commute, every single layer of social expectation. Legal constraints, family responsibilities, public opinion, moral judgments.
It sees those as traps, right?
Yeah, the framework views these as artificial cages preventing people from expressing their genuine selves.
But wait a second. Let me push back on this a bit. If our trajectory is completely 100% predetermined from birth, down to our fortunes and misfortunes, how do we suddenly have the agency to decide to walk to work naked or sing in the street at midnight?
That's the paradox?
Right. Like, are we strictly following a script or are we improvising? If I'm terrified of public judgment, isn't that fear also part of my predetermined nature?
Well, the text makes a crucial distinction here between your innate cosmic uniqueness and societal conformity. The framework urges readers to never imitate others. It literally says, do not take them as your role models.
So no copying the billionaires.
Exactly. True excellence comes from innate talents and missions that simply cannot be copied. Your fear of public judgment isn't your true nature. It is a learned behavior imposed by society.
Ah, I see. So embracing fate means accepting the unique script the universe wrote specifically for you, rather than trying to steal the script of a celebrity or something.
Right.
And following your nature means having the courage to act your script out authentically without letting society step in to edit your performance. The urge to sing at midnight isn't a random break in the programming. According to this text, it is your genuine, predetermined inner self finally breaking through the artificial rules of the buggy app.
You've got it. You aren't choosing your fate. You are just finally agreeing to stop pretending to be someone else.
That makes sense.
But that creates a massive vacuum. Think about it. If you strip away the desire for the mansion, you refuse to copy anyone else's path, and you stop caring about societal status. What is left to drive you? What are you supposed to do with all your waking hours?
Right, because you still have to live your life.
Exactly. And the text steps into that void with a surprisingly simple mandate. Create, but do not chase trends.
Yeah, the essay issues a really severe warning about societal ways. It uses very grounded examples like the collective trend of buying houses or farmers rushing into cities to find industrial work.
Or college students desperately clamoring to land stable civil service jobs.
Exactly. It describes these as endless cultural waves that just keep crashing over us one after another. If you spend your life paddling after these waves, the text warns that your life will ultimately be reduced to a hollow bubble.
And a bubble might catch the light and look beautiful for a brief moment, but it lacks substance.
And it inevitably pops.
Exactly. The text contrasts this hollow, exhausting trend chasing with the deep satisfaction of creation. It states that everything meaningful we see is created, and that the act of creation is the ultimate source of joy and vitality for a human being.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because the text emphasizes that this isn't about creating physical wealth or, like, launching a tech startup.
No at all.
The true sweetness in life, according to the framework, comes from mental and spiritual creation. Chasing trends is like trying to catch a wave that inevitably crashes on the shore, leaving you exhausted, waterlogged, and with absolutely nothing to show for it.
That's a great way to put it.
But learning to manifest something out of your own mind is like building your own ocean. You aren't relying on external forces to give you a ride. You're generating the vitality yourself.
And to illustrate this, the essay points to a very vivid, almost sci-fi concept, the super-celestials of the Celestial Islands continent.
I love that part. It sounds like a fantasy novel.
It really does. The author uses these beings as the ultimate archetype of pure creation. According to the text, these entities manifest infinite vitality purely through their creative thinking. They don't need to consume external resources, buy houses, or seek validation to feel alive. Their ability to generate reality from their own minds is their actual life force.
So the text is using the supercelestials as a metaphor, or, perhaps a literal goal, depending on how deeply you read into the mysticism, for a mind completely unburdened by material consumption.
Yes, exactly.
It's an exercise in extreme self-sufficiency.
Yeah.
But if we are operating entirely off the grid, spiritually speaking, we need a massive generator. Generating that kind of internal vitality requires a specific type of fuel.
Which brings us to the essay's mandate on accumulating energy. If you are going to build your own ocean, you cannot rely on the municipal water supply, right? You need your own source. The text issues a profound, completely uncompromising warning against relying on any external systems for your well-being. It explicitly states that depending on the nation, the government, the economic system, or even your own future generations for support is a dangerous gamble.
It calls it an illusion.
Yes.
And it pushes that even further by arguing that relying on human moral and ethical values to achieve your ideals is an illusory and beautiful mirage. Wait, calling human morality an illusory mirage is incredibly cynical. Is the author saying that morality fundamentally doesn't exist, or just that it's a fragile safety net that will eventually snap under pressure?
It's more the latter. The logic here is deeply tied to the book without words. Nature doesn't operate on human morality.
I guess that's true. A hurricane doesn't care if you're a good person.
Exactly. Morality is a societal construct, and as we'll see later in the text, societal constructs are constantly shifting. If you build your life's foundation on the current ethical trends of your era, you are building a house on sand. When the era changes, the morals change, and your foundation just vanishes.
Wow. So if we can't rely on the government, our family, or even basic societal ethics, the energy we are supposed to be accumulating has to be entirely internal.
Entirely.
The text defines this energy as your personal character, your inner depth, and your sheer raw survival capabilities. It specifically notes that meticulously cultivated social connections like networking, basically, will not save you. When the chips are down, only your own innate strength and character matter.
And this process of accumulating internal energy never stops. The text demands lifelong diligence.
No retiring to a golf course.
Nope. It says that as long as you are alive, whether you are in your 30s, 40s, 70s, or 80s, you can never allow the thought, I can finally enjoy life now, to enter your consciousness. You cannot retire your mind. The moment you stop accumulating energy, you begin to stagnate.
The essay actually quotes that famous philosophical idea, I hear the Tao in the morning and I die content in the evening. The requirement is to continuously learn, explore, and elevate your life's realm.
Yes, into what the text calls deeper, broader, and more profound multidimensional time and space.
So to put this in perspective for you, the listener,
Yeah.
the goal isn't to hustle in an office for 40 years so you can eventually sit on a beach with a margarita, turn your brain off, and consume leisure until you die.
Definitely not.
The goal is to continuously upgrade your own operating system until your very last breath.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, by never stopping the process of internal creation, you insulate yourself from those hollow bubbles of society we talked about, and you successfully sublimate your life toward that heavenly state the author is pointing toward.
But I mean, living this way, constantly elevating your mind, ignoring societal success metrics, refusing to rely on human morality, occasionally commuting naked, that is going to make you an absolute outcast.
Oh, without a doubt.
You're going to be in direct conflict with what normal society considers the absolute truth. People will think you have completely lost your mind.
And the text anticipates this friction. It actually offers a mechanism for handling it, which is maintaining a radically open mindset.
Right, and it backs this up by forcing the reader to look hard at humanity's historical blind spots. Because of the era we are born into, we just instinctively believe that whatever our current culture dictates is absolute, unvarnished truth.
But history tells a very different story.
Exactly. The text reminds us of specific historical eras when society believed that women violently binding their feet was completely natural and beautiful, or eras where men were forced to wear specific braids.
Or where communities erected massive architectural arches just to honor the quote-unquote virtue of married women.
Right. Society considered those practices to be absolute, unquestionable realities of human existence. The text even notes that in certain periods, society considered unmarried cohabitation to be a literal, punishable crime.
Those were the fundamental truths of their day.
And if you argued against them, you were the crazy outcast.
Yeah.
And yet humanity eventually advanced and realized those truths were actually deeply flawed, culturally imposed biases.
And here is the profound conclusion the author draws from that. The things we staunchly, fiercely defend today might very well be the most ignorant prejudices of our current era. What is universally accepted as correct today will likely be viewed as backward, oppressive, or simply incorrect by future civilizations.
So what does this all mean for you? Think about the societal rules you passionately defend right now. The ethical lines you draw, the success metrics you judge your peers by, the basic common sense you operate on. What if, a century from now, future generations look back at your absolute truths the exact same way we look back at the horrors of foot binding?
It's a completely destabilizing concept, realizing your entire worldview might just be a temporary illusion.
But according to the text, realizing this is the only way to become truly free.
And that realization comes with very specific behavioral advice for how to walk through the world. The text states that you must not attack or aggressively condemn, present phenomena that seem irrational to you.
Because if the human operating system is as flawed and buggy as the text claims, then your current judgments are being processed through bad code anyway.
Precisely. Sometimes what appears nonsensical or unreasonable during a period of ignorance turns out to be the most rational milestone of an advancing civilization.
Today's undeniable right is almost certainly tomorrow's obvious wrong. And today's crazy, irrational behavior like refusing to participate in the economy to focus entirely on internal mental creation might be tomorrow's pinnacle of rationality.
So the only logical response to living in a world built on shifting sand is extreme open-mindedness. You have to stop judging the present moment and the people trapped in it so harshly.
You stay open, you keep your head down, you continuously accumulate your internal survival energy, and you focus exclusively on reading the uncorrupted code of nature rather than arguing with people over the rules of a buggy app.
That's the blueprint.
Wow, let's bring this all together. We started by walking into that massive, pristine library, looking at shelves of human knowledge that this essay basically asked us to ignore completely.
To burn it all down, metaphorically.
Yeah. And the journey we've taken through this text offers a radically different map for existence. To perfectly navigate the human journey according to this blueprint, you have to actively tune out the deafening noise of societal success metrics.
You have to study the book without words by observing the raw, unfiltered reality of nature.
You must accept your completely unchangeable, predetermined fate in order to stop grinding your gears against the universe and actually find peace.
You have to lean hard into your true innate nature, even if it means breaking every social convention and expectation placed upon you.
You must refuse to rely on the fragile mirage of human morality or systemic support, relying solely on your own cultivated inner character.
You must refuse to chase societal trend bubbles, choosing instead to create endlessly from your own mind.
And finally, you must accept with total humility that the unquestionable truths you hold today might just be the foolishness of tomorrow.
It is a profound, almost uncomfortable dismantling of how the vast majority of us live our daily lives. This framework tells us that if we want to find actual truth, we have to put down the textbooks, step outside the library, and look closely at the world functioning around us. So, I will leave you with this one lingering thought to take away. If human knowledge is mostly a layered distortion, and the ultimate truth is actually written out plainly in the book without words of nature, what is the natural world trying to tell you right now? That your own intellect is simply too loud to hear.
Imagine finally stepping out of that towering library, leaving all those millions of pages of anxious human chatter behind, and just feeling the heat of the sun on your face for the very first time. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We will catch you next time.